Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. So today we have with us All India Rank 31 CLAT 2021 topper Kanishk Srinivas. With Kanishk, we have Mr. Ramanuj Mishra, who is an IIT Kharagpur alumni and director at Career Launcher Sector 62 Noida. So we welcome you, sir. We welcome you, Kanishk.
Thank you, ma'am.
Heartiest, heartiest congratulations, Kanishk, for clearing CLAT 2021 with such great marks. I'm sure you must be on cloud nine at the moment. And needless to say, how is the feeling? So, how are you feeling, Kanishk, after clearing the most important exam of law, CLAT, with such flying colors? So, how are you feeling? How's the feeling?
Obviously, it's great. There's no words to express it, and it's been a family effort to clearing this exam. My parents have contributed greatly to this, whatever we've achieved together. So, of course, it's a great feeling, and as a family, we're enjoying it.
Okay,
Okay,
that's great to hear.
okay. Pulak, you continue with the question. I'll come back in between.
Sure, sure. So, Kanishk, if you could just describe your 2 years of entire journey with Career Launcher Sector 62 Noida, how it has been, and if you could let everyone know how was the journey, when did the idea of pursuing law come to your mind, how did you go about it, what were the ups and downs that you faced during the entire journey. So, if you could let us know your entire journey of CLAT preparation, that should be great.
Ma'am, it's truly been a roller coaster ride. So the choice of taking humanities like came naturally to us because I'm a person who has been an avid reader. I developed an interest for oration as well. So I felt taking a subject like humanities, which has such a huge horizon, would help me to develop those skills better. So once you take humanities, law becomes a natural option for you because it's like among the foremost careers that a humanities student can take. And of course, it's one of those professions which again aids my interest in reading and oration. I was What I did with the courses and the 2 year program was actually a bit weird. It might be weird for some people. I actually opted for the 1 year course in class 11 so that I was taking part in the class along with the 12th. That was because my mom felt that otherwise I would get too laid back and then I might not prepare well. So that enabled me to understand how people around me were very sincere, and I understood the consequences of doing well and failing in this exam. So I was not very serious then, but I did understand the stakes that were involved. The serious preparation actually started in class 12. It's a bit of a trouble managing both your boards as well as CLAT. But I think once you get into the class and then you start attending every class, you get a hang of it. And of course, I had some really helpful friends at CL as well. So we used to keep encouraging each other. And then I think we just made it through. And towards the last few months, of course, I had always contacted you, and I was always troubling you with my doubts and at odd hours and all of that. So I think without your support, it would not have been possible. So it's been a collective effort.
Okay,
That's
so first, Ganesh, congratulations, and for the rank which anybody will feel like okay, 31 is one of the greatest rank we see because we are getting one of the great college, and as we know, you have already started doing your classes with NLS Bangalore, so India's premier law college, and you have already in. So that is a dream which probably somebody wants to achieve. But as you stated, it is not the easy one. It is not the easy ride for me. It is right for you to prepare a CLAT and then actually get such a rank. So you must have some strong area and some weak area. Can you let us know how you focus on those strong areas and weak areas? How you improve on those weak areas? So can you elaborate on that for the viewers and those who are actually going to listen you through this channel?
Yes, sir. So strong areas I feel would have been maths because I had maths in class 11 and 12 as well. So quant was not an issue. It was just a matter of practice. Although I am a reader, ironically, logical and English seem to be the sections which used to bog me down. Legal was a section in which I realized that I was just over analyzing stuff and making a repetitive mistake, which I was able to correct with ma'am's help. Towards the of course, as English and logical I said is quite weak, and like even like 2 months before the CLAT exam I was like struggling, literally struggling with logical reasoning. But then again, there were some things which I was doing on a loop, the same mistakes were being repeated. I tried sorting that out by redoing my mocks, the mocks which I had already attempted. I would just go through or just attempt them again and see the mistakes which I had made both in the previous attempt as well as in the recent attempt. And once you spot those patterns of mistakes which you make, for example, the mistakes I made were involving quantifying words. That is, I used to miss out on the very, the often, the seldom, and that actually changes the entire meaning of a passage. Once I realized that, I was able to focus on those questions and at least make a slight attempt at improving them. English, I feel again, I started because of CLAT, I did lose out a bit on my reading. So once I started reading again, I think the reading part also picked up.
Okay, so that's great to hear. So, yep, reading actually is very important because if you see the latest CLAT paper, after the CLAT changed its pattern, it's only about reading. So, of course, a message out there to the aspirants who are preparing: if you have a reading habit, it should be like really easy for you. And for all these toppers who are sharing their journey, one thing that they definitely have in common is that they have this reading habit. So, for all the viewers and for all the aspirants watching out, great message from All India Rank 31. Please read, 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 and pay attention to those minute details. A very good point mentioned by him. To words like seldom, often, often those words we neglect those words, thinking ki nahi, kya hi rakha hai. But then these words might change the entire game. So yeah, that's very, very important. So Kanishk, any special message for the CLAT aspirants out there? There might be a lot of students who must be preparing for CLAT this year, right? They would be appearing for CLAT in 2022 or in 2023. So any special message or any piece of advice to those aspirants out there from your side?
Yes, ma'am. The first thing being that at the end of the day, CLAT is a competitive exam. It's very fickle. Something might go your way on that day, or something might go terribly wrong on that day. So it's best not to lose hope at any point of time. Perseverance always pays. I have personally had an experience with my mock marks going all the way up till 127 in one mock and going all the way down to 98, 99 in the other. So it keeps varying. It varies according to the mock. So it's just that you're not supposed to get disheartened at any part of the process. The other thing would be that read, as everybody will say, reading is absolutely essential to this paper. All the sections are basically reading comprehensions with a different variety of questions. I'm not saying that you pick up a newspaper and you read like 15, 20 editorials a day. That's not necessary and it's not feasible as well. Instead, if you're reading just 2 to 3 editorials a day, that improves your reading speed by at least 5 to 6 words per minute, and that's a huge thing from a CLAT perspective.
Very important
So
point. Yes.
don't miss out on reading on any day, because reading is something which is like you have to get a hang of it. It's not like you were very good at reading in say class 9 or 8, and now you left it in between, and now you're again going to have a wonderful reading speed. It's something which you practice every day. And another thing, there might be many people around you who will say, this is what is right, this is what is wrong, this is exactly how you're going to crack CLAT. No, it's not a straight jacketed process. It varies according to from person to person. From a personal experience, since my quant was fairly better as compared to the other sections, I felt I should invest a bit more time in quant and try solving the questions. So when the time management issue came up, I instead of allotting 15 minutes as usually people do to the quant section, I allotted 20 minutes. I took those extra 5 minutes from legal. It sounds like suicide in a CLAT paper, but since it worked for me, I think that it was a good strategy. So if it works for you, and especially for you, it's working out really well, do go with it and don't be hesitant about it.
Hmm.
Very well said.
That
And that is the what it should be advised to each and every kids who is aspiring to clear any competitive examinations. You take mock as a mock only. It is not the real score of yours. If fluctuate, keep a faith, work on those areas by which you can actually increase your marks. And more than that, you also tweak the situation. Like what Connect says, I added some 5 minutes in 5 minutes extra in QA and cut down from some other places. It can happen only when you practice these all stuff into the mocks. Otherwise, it could be suicidal once you go and do this in CLAT or any other paper, because in the pressure you're not able to do. It is same way we always say, army, many army men you met, they have not fought a war, but you ask them how many exercise they have done in their life. Okay, sir, war exercise, so each and every time they do. So if you be in an exercise, then you can actually fight the war better and you are prepared one. Now I come to a bit a question which actually very close to us, because we being there in this profession for a long. I have already completed 11 years, and we begin this Sector 62 Noida Center in 2010. What role you see in your success of Career Launcher Sector 62 in specific? Because obviously that is also one of the job of mine to understand, is it really working out for the kids or not?
Oh, it's definitely working out great, sir. See, the contribution which I'm mentioning is has to be understood in the context. So none of my parents are from a legal background, and generally from in our families, humanities as a subject and law is seen as isn't seen as a very high aiming profession. So in this legal minefield, I feel CL was great in helping me navigate that, and CL Sector 62. And without especially Pulak ma'am's help, I don't think I would have managed to, clear all those doubts out. I still remember I used to call her up at like odd times, 11, 12 in the night. And then my mom had to tell me, ki, see, she also has a personal life. You need to give her some space. If she has time, she will call you. So that was the extent to which I had, a comfortable equation with the faculty at 62. Of course, every class which I attended, after every class, if I had a doubt, the faculty were always there. We started the mock analysis sessions in when I was in 12th, and I think those greatly helped, because even after I analyzed, there would be some areas where you still have a bit of doubt, and those were always sorted out in the analysis sessions. And another very important point is Sector 62 center was very close to my house. So I didn't have to lose out on the commute time as well. So most people, they feel that this center is the best and this center is the that one is the best. And you spend like an hour or so going and coming back in 2 hours, and 2 hours of the time is just gone. And you have to add that to your board prep time as well. But for me, CL was the Sector 62 center was like just 5 to 10 minutes drive away, so that greatly saved my time as well. So on the whole, it's been a wonderful contribution to whatever I've achieved.
Nee, that's great. And Kanishk, of course, one thing that I would like to add from my end was that Kanishk used to be one super sincere kid. Like we used to, of course, we're dealing with kids on a daily basis, but Kanishk was one kid that, who was sincere throughout. So I remember these mock sessions that we started offline when pandemic situation improved. And despite of boards, despite of pre-boards or pre-boards or how many round of practicals his school used to conduct, he made sure that he diligently is attending those sessions. And I mean, so of course, attending the sessions, reaching out to faculties, understanding the entire process, and of course, being patient with the entire system. That's very important, because there are times when faculties are busy and then they forget to call students. There are times like that, of course. But Kanish used to remember nahi. And of course, one important point that I would like to mention was his punctuality. So there was this instance when I used to give him a call. So his mom used to pick up, and he was busy taking some of the other mock. Of course, he was very busy in the entire process. And his mom then used to tell me, ki, ma'am, he'll give you a call back at 10 p.m. I used to be chill. I used to think, okay, I'll get a call at 10:15 or 10:20. Who calls sharp at 10? And that very day, I got a call sharp at 10 p.m. And that day, I realized no, 10 p.m. means 10 p.m. for him. So that punctuality, that amount of diligence, that amount of sincerity, if you seek to get, I mean, if you get to see in a kid, I'm sure that is what we're actually looking for. And we're sure, both Ramanu sir and I'm sure that like CL में जितना ये sincere था, he goes, he's already started his classes at NLS Bangalore. So he'll be that sincere throughout. तो हमें इसको बोलना पड़ रहा है कि प्लीज तुम थोड़ी पार्टी करना, थोड़ी मस्ती करना, पढ़ाई तो ये डेफिनेटली कर लेगा. So इसके लिए दूसरा piece of advice, इसके लिए पढ़ाई वाला तो goes without saying. So definitely that was something that I wanted to add. Yes. So one more thing, Kanishk. Of course, you managed everything with school, right? And of course, managing with school is not easy, like you just mentioned. And it's a huge deal. So how did you balance it out, especially in 12th when you knew that you had so much your way, I mean, coming. And of course, with this year being the most uncertain year of the century, कुछ idea नहीं कब exams होने वाले, votes होगा नहीं होगा, with timelines getting shifted, getting pushed. How did you manage everything, and how did you balance your school with your competitive exams, CLAT and other competitive exams, of course?
Ma'am, to say honestly, I personally feel I didn't manage it really very well. But of course, it's very difficult. On some days, you feel that you're boards oriented, you want to get into a pol science course in DU, and you like spend 10 to 15 hours studying your board syllabus and you neglect CLAT. Some other day, you feel CLAT is your dream and NLSIU is the college that you want to be in, and you like spend 10 to 12 hours on your CLAT and ignore your boards. That happened with me as well. But one thing that we tried to ensure was that I don't give up on any of these aspects on any day. So even if I did something extra on a day, I ensured that, like, say, probably 10 to 15 questions of quant, or 5 to 10 questions, 5 to 10 paragraphs of English, some questions of logical, and a passage or two of legal were attempted every day so that I don't lose touch of it. So again, CLAT is basically practice and repetitive practice at that. So it was to ensure that I don't lose touch of any of the areas. So I had an experience of you break for a month, and then what happens is whichever score you were at a month before, you come back to that, and then again it's you have to climb back up. It's a very arduous journey. So what we ensured was that we never left any subject on any day. Just ensure that you do at least 10 to, it's not necessary you do 100 200 questions a day, probably 10 15, just so that you don't lose the hang of it. And another thing which I ensured that I did, or at least my parents ensured that I did, was that reading the newspaper
Very
from both the GK perspective as well as the English perspective, irrespective of whether I had the pre boards or even when there was nothing scheduled, or even if I had a very important mock. I would read the newspaper every day for, it's a wholesome practice session for the whole of your CLAT paper. That is one thing I ensured. And of course, it's all about also about pacing yourself. At the start of the year, when you have some more time at hand, where teachers are not running after you to submit assignments and take tests, and the mocks are not too hectic as well, you can give a 50-50 balance to both. But as circumstances turn out, suppose you have a very important mock the next day, and but you don't have a test, I think you wouldn't focus more on CLAT. But then if you have your pre-boards, it becomes natural to focus on your board prep again. We were fortunate, our batch was fortunate in that the boards got cancelled, although it was not fortunate from the point that we had prepared for the boards. But since it got cancelled, we got a lot of time for CLAT prep. So once it got cancelled, we switched completely over to CLAT, and that also greatly helped.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Uh, One section where people are not uh, that clear about, that is called the GK section, because it got a range of subjects, and again there are too many thoughts. Last year paper, and then what CLAT consortium has given us a range, what to study, what to not. So how do you prepare for a GK? Can you elaborate on that? Because reading newspapers is one thing. What other sources you followed on that?
Sir, personally, I feel GK. I've told many people this, but you see, GK is a donkey. You can beat it as much as you want. It's never going to give you the marks you desire. I've seen, you always see UPSC aspirants as well preparing for 5 years, but they flounder in the GK section because it's just too vast to cover the whole thing. And in 1 year, I really don't think you can cover all of the syllabus. It's just about doing targeted, dedicated reading on the topic and not missing out on any day. Of course, the newspaper is absolutely essential, but from the exams point of view, you need a concentrated source so that you can, repeat your whatever you have learned and revise it all over again. Although some people felt that there was a discrepancy with the CLAT paper, they were like some things which you felt were important didn't turn up, and the GK section was quite difficult. I personally didn't feel so, because I swore by the manthan which CL provides. Um, it's not about quantity. It's not about doing the GK from multiple sites like many aspirants do. It's about picking up one source but doing it qualitatively. So let's say if I picked up the manthan, I used to do it upside down. So after like 2 3 revisions, I used to know the thing inside out. I could like answer any question from it, and of course most of the questions that turned up in the actual CLAT paper were from the Manthan. Although I attempted like just 31, and any other questions which I didn't attempt were purely because I couldn't remember them, or I had not studied them properly, but not because they were out of syllabus, or they were incomprehensible questions. It's just about picking the correct source, studying it diligently, and revising. I must add that I revised the Manthan close to 4 to 5 times. If you're able to make do with just 2 or 3 revisions, and you're able to quite conveniently remember things, 2 or 3 would do. I did it 4 to 5 times, and I think it greatly helped. And of course, we have from the CLAT perspective, we had the CL people had provided us with News Canvas, which is more of a passage-based reading, a GK-oriented website. So that also helped. Another advice is, people generally tend to go into too much depth with GK. I've seen people reading CRPC sections, remembering them. They're like 43D, subsection 5. That's not necessary. CLAT does not want to know your legal understanding. It just wants to see how aware you are of the world. And at this level of like preparing for CLAT and giving the exam, I don't think that's necessary. You need to filter out the excess information which is available on the internet, pick up a reliable source, do it diligently, and revise. That is what I followed, and I
So
feel it would
revision
work
is
for
the
other
key.
people as well.
So revision
Yes,
is
ma'am,
the key.
definitely.
Matlab identifying a source, sticking to it, swearing by it, and keep on. Yeah, that's the common problem that even we think students face. They think that they have to study from multiple sources, and then they end up ruining everything. So for all the viewers who are watching this, for all the aspirants out there, you need to identify that source, the source that is the source for you. Keep on like stick to it, swear by it, keep on revising. Revision is the key. I mean, of course, because there is so much of information specifically with respect to GK, and there are chances you might forget. Even if it's a MCQ paper, you might forget because there's so much to register. So of course, revision is the key. And one good point that of course Kanish brought up, even if you're very busy with your school life or school exams, school assignments, make sure to invest some time on a daily basis for this exam. And I'm sure students watching this at least are able to invest 20 minutes, 25 minutes, आधा घंटा कुछ नहीं समझ आ रहा तो vocabulary कर लो, डाइनिंग एंड कम अप विद क्रिएटिव वेज ऑफ कोर्स. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि vocabulary के वर्ड्स ना रटना ही है. आपने 5 वर्ड्स रटे, डाइनिंग टेबल में फैमिली के साथ डिनर कर रहे हो, वो वर्ड्स को यूज कर लो. थैंक्स टू जूम, थैंक्स टू टेक्नोलॉजी आप क्या नहीं कर सकते हो. जूम पे आओ, फ्रेंड्स के साथ क्विज कर लो एंड सेट दी स्मॉलर टारगेट्स among yourselves. So come up with creative ways and do not stick to the conventional mode of studying that we've always been. That's how you could make learning more fun and more interesting, right? So yes, that definitely is there.
Okay, so I think a lot of advices for the people. Even Kanish spoke in quite detail. So
Definitely.
I think that is it from our side. I wish to see Kanish some part of time. It comes to the headline of Times of India, being one of the
Yeah,
lawyer or something, a law professional who has contributed to the law field immense. We need a very sincere people in the law field, because if you go to the common people, they are not that. They are not having conviction. They will get a justice with them. Justice will be given to only richest people. That's what the mindset is there. I feel like sincere people goes in the law field. I think someday it will turn and it will become for what it has actually created. So law is created for the common people. I think I wish you
definitely.
very best. You have been a topper in each and every places. We wish to see you at NLSS be one of the brightest one and the sincere one, most respected kids at that college. Wish you very
And
best. Guys.
and
Thank you.
hoping to
Thank you so
call
much,
him
sir.
in all the competitions and everything that we conduct at our center. So everyone knows that CL Sector 62 bond with students is not only till CLAT exam, it is a bond for lifetime. So hope to see you, hope to maintain that bond and that touch throughout. And yes,
Definitely, ma'am.
we wish you all the best. Hope you come out with flying colors. So that's it. And we are always there for you. CL Sector 62 Noida is
Always.
always there for you. Okay,
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you
you so
so
much,
much.
ma'am.
Thank you. All the
Thank
best and
you.
heartiest
Okay.
congratulations.
Take care. Bye.
Thank
Thank you,
thank
ma'am.
you. Bye. Take care.